In the previous videos, we have talked about sine and cosine rules. So this time around, we want to see where they can be applied. So we should be talking about the applications of sine and cosine rules. And one place can't be visibly seen is in bearing and distances. So we'll be looking at bearing. So when we do bearing, we're going to form some triangles, and solving these triangles, we need either sine or cosine rule. So we ask ourselves what bearing is. How do we define a bearing? It may be defined as a direction of an object, or you can say it's the relative position of an object. So that's what we talk about called bearing. So now bearing, there's a way you can read bearing. It could be read in two ways. So you can talk about the compass bearing. So we have compass bearing. This compass bearing can also be called the cardinal point. So you can look at it as a cardinal point. Then another way of representing bearing is what we now call the three-digit bearing. The three-digit bearing. So we're going to look at each of them. So we're going to look at the compass bearing. So we look at compass bearing, and we say that the compass bearing is based on cardinal points and can be obtained in any standard compass. So it is based on cardinal points. So we'll look at some examples now. So we'll be looking at this cardinal point. Like I told you, that the compass bearing is based on cardinal points. So here is always the north. So the north, here you have the south. Then the right side you have the east. And finally on the left here you have the west. So this is what we have. So now when dealing with four cardinal points, you can measure from the south or from the north. So I can move from the north maybe in this direction. Okay, so I can move from north to east. I can also move from north to west. So I can also move in this direction. Then similarly, I can also take my reference point from the south. I can also move from south to east in this direction. I can also move from the south to the west in this direction. So the reference point is from the north to the south. So you can move from north to east or north to west, and from south to east or south to west. So that's what we have. Then here, the same thing happens. So here you have some lines. For instance, we know that, like I have said, here is your north. You can use just capital N to represent the north. You can use capital S to represent the south. So now, you can also use W for the west, E for the east. So now this is what we have. So you see that this line that is here. So if you want to locate the position here, if an object is in this position, this object is lying on the northeast. What is NE? So it is, the object there is on the northeast. Then if you are here, you agree with me that object here is lying on the northwest. So this line is simply for the northwest. Then the same thing happens if you are here. You see that your location is southeast. So here is simply southeast. If somebody is on the other side, here, if you are on this location, you are lying on the region of southwest. So that is actually what we mean by compass bearing. So it's based on the cardinal points. So we're going to look at examples now, where we're going to, on the subsequent videos, we'll look at examples where we'll be given some bearing in the cardinal point form, and we are trying to draw the cardinal point and then locate their positions. We will look at examples bordering on compass bearing, otherwise known as cardinal points. So in this example, it says, represent the following bearing angles in compass bearing I, 50 degrees northeast, 50 degrees northeast, II, 20 degrees northwest, III, 30 degrees southeast, and finally IV, 65 degrees southwest. So we start from the first one. So here, we are moving from north to east. So we first of all go and locate north and east. So here is our north, and here is our east. So that's the first thing you will do, is to locate that 2 points. Now, here, where you have 50 degrees northeast means that you're going to move or rotate 50 degrees from north to east. So you're going to move in this direction. So this is from north to east. And here it should be making an angle 50 degrees. So the angle here is 50 degrees. So that's what we have. So it means that this cardinal point now, this is the putting this position on this cardinal point is what we mean by compass bearing. So this is now 50 degrees northeast. Okay, the second one says 20 degrees northwest. So first of all, locate your northwest. So here is our north. Then here is our west. Okay, so now it means that you're going to move from north to west. So our movement should be in this form. It should be on the anti-clockwise direction. So you're moving here from north to west. And your movement is just 20 degrees. So here you have 20 degrees. So here now you now have north to west 20 degrees. So this is the location on the compass bearing. Then let's look at the third one. So the third one says you move from south to east. So first of all, get the south and the east. So this here is south. Then here is our east. Then we are going to move 30 degrees from south to east. So you are going to move in this form. So from south to east. So that will be your direction. And the angle that you're going to make there is 30 degrees. So that's what we mean that here, from south to east, you have 30 degrees. And finally, the last one says you move from south to west, 65 degrees, south to west. So you get your south, you get your west. Now you're going to move from south to west. So your direction should be in this form. So you move in this form. And the angle there is 65 degrees. So what we have done is now from south to west, you move 65 degrees. So such representation is what we call compass bearing. So the bearing angle could be given to you and you represent them in compass bearing, or what you call the cardinal point.